let's say I wasn't right about any of my predictions, and they were never going to happen the way that I said that they would. But over time, because there's a period of time where, like, if I knew the Bible inside and out, and I knew prophecy, and I knew how all the things were supposed to be, and then you can see it unfolding as the Bible starts to come to life, over a period of time, you have people trying to figure out, like, what's going on in the world. Nobody truly knows what's happening here besides the ones doing it. And let's just say that this period of time, it's kind of like a game, but it's real life at the same time. They want to see who can come the closest. So if somebody comes close and they see that, well, you know what? If we just alter his predictions to what we were going to do, we can make the people that are doubting this person to believe him even more. I know, right? I mean, so full of yourself, Robin. Just so full of yourself. Well, see, Kleck knows what I'm talking about, because here's what happens over time throughout the entire history of existence. Events have been played out beforehand. They've been written out. They've been acted out. There's some bad actors. There's some good actors. And then there's people that didn't even know that they were part of the show. And then they just step in to the scene, like myself. And then now I see that in the end, I just want to know what everything is supposed to happen. That way I can do my part to fulfill my end of it. Let's say 17th and JFK wasn't the target, even though it is. See, I'm trying to downplay it where I'm not giving myself enough credit, because it's so obvious that it's on the back of a $50 bill, and it's right there, 17th JFK, and it's a rectangular windows. It's a green building. It's exactly the same thing on the back of a $50 bill when you fold it up. And the $20 bill was the bombing, Oklahoma City bombing. So it's the same thing. Flip it upside down. But let's just say that it wasn't going to be that building. It was something else. And then Kleck thought, well, you know what? I really appreciate Robin's honesty over these past 3 years. Unlike my payroll, the 450 checks that I got to write each week or deposit into the PayPal. But because Robin's been telling the truth this entire time, and he knows that we've been stalking him, and I've sent Jerry from Light of Truth after, I sent Glop of Truth, I sent Judas himself after. I mean, I'm going to give a shout out to all you guys that failed miserably. Lefty, you keep trying. But because Robin seen it coming, and he just flicked yous off like gnats that yous are. And hey, Tyler Mullen, man, I'll tell you, the Spirit of God is working inside of you, man. For real. Or at least he will be shortly. So what Kleck did is he appreciated my honesty and my ability to continually fight off agents are people too, and turn them around, because I'm sure there's probably about half of Kleck's 144 that are following him, because he has that on the payroll too. I think half of you guys have turned good since you watched my channel. Half of you has turned good. And Kleck sees it. Even if you don't think he does, he sees you right behind your camera. He's behind the camera. He's the guy in, what's that show? Truman Show. He's the guy up in the sun or hanging around up in the moon looking down. He can see who you guys watch. He can see your reaction when you're watching channels. If you don't realize that, you should. You guys are surveilling team. You're a surveillance team as it is. So let's just say that either way it would be an honor to get the prediction correct or to have Kleck alter it for me because he knows that he can it's up to you to believe how it happened dead on. You can either believe Kleck changed it and altered it to fit it exactly the way I said it would be, that way it lines up better, or because it's so obvious, the world's shutting down. We're at that point right now. Harold Camping warned us about this on May 21st, 2011. We're at the end. So as the world turns, as the world script turns, and the events happen exactly the way I say they did, that I say that they do, then in Kleck's mind, it's still going to get you to acknowledge that everything I've been saying about your boss is true. Everything I've been saying about Kleck that people don't know about him is true. And you'll start to finally wake up. Now, whether he changed it or it's going to be exactly the way that it was going to be anyway, that I just got it right, and we'll find out at the end. To change it is still, even if he changed it, would that change your mind about if I had the truth in me or not? Because you have the guy that's in charge of the whole, as far as I know, I could be deceived, but I doubt it. You got a guy that's in charge of all these events that sets up the bombings and has everything. He's showing you at the flick of a switch, he can get people to wear masks and just be scared to death, just like that. He's also showing you how fast the economy can get straight back up again, right back to business, when everybody that accepted the chip becomes our, you become our property. We own you now because we weren't phased by these phases that Kleck is just bombarding us with shortly. So even if he changed it, in your mind, I would prefer, what would I prefer? I would prefer to get it right, but if he did change it to make me right, because I know that, and he knows that the events that happen, it doesn't matter one way or another. Everybody that's been watching my channel that still has, you're still working for the opposition, you still have the enemy inside, you just can't freaking see. Kleck has a surprise for you guys. And I'll be good to you. I already have been, even though everybody and whoever has tried to shut my mouth up. I appreciate your effort because it only strengthens me. It's like a fight. Like I've never had to fight in my life, but this is a spiritual battle, and words can knock you out. They can. Just look at Steve and James and Sean. He doesn't exist anymore. I think he got raptured up out of here. But I'd rather get them right. But if Kleck had to change it for me, then that's even more of an honor for me. I think I would appreciate that even more, just to make sure that the events take place, because either way, if I got it right or not, and Kleck decided to change it, what it shows you is I did change Kleck's heart, and this is the guy that runs the entire planet. To get him to do that for me, Kleck, I would very much appreciate if that's how it works. The William Penn building, it can fall down at 1 o'clock on 1 North Broad Street on the Masonic Temple to represent crushing the serpent's head and Christ taking over. Anywhere from the 6th hour to the 9th hour. I like the idea of 8:48 being where the William Penn tilts over at 1 o'clock. But nobody you got to make sure nobody's around. You got to send those robots, create a diversion somewhere if you have to. I don't care. Just make sure nobody gets hurt. But when the buildings fall and William Penn falls on his side, let him. Wait a minute. There's two witnesses in the street. Oh, who are they? There's two witnesses right out front of the Masonic Temple. I think it's Benjamin Franklin. And somebody else, because he's holding out like the flag or something. He's like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, I didn't take it. There's two witnesses out there. They're gonna show. You guys are gonna see on the news. I think it's the one that flew the kite that's taking all the credit for creating electricity and everything else, Benjamin Franklin. I think those two witnesses are going to they're going to fall in the street after William Penn crushes the building. They're going to be tilted over. They're going to lay there, probably right there. It'll be blown into Broad Street. They'll lay there, and nobody will pick them up for 3.5 days. Once they start cleaning up, and then that's when everybody that has masks on, like literally, you'll have masks on because there's so much smoke down there, and then everybody with the mask on will start worshiping the two images of the beast. Yeah, so wouldn't that be something? Changing the script for me because Kleck knows that it'll work even more to the benefit of God to get people's attention. Because even if I was wrong, Kleck wanted to make sure I was right. That means a lot to me, Kleck. Thanks. Thanks ahead of time for making sure that somewhere around 8:48 a.m. either the 8 Penn Center building 8 at 1628 John F. Kennedy Boulevard, where that gets hit at like 8:48 a.m. and then at 9:03 the next building gets hit, was at the William Penn building, and then 9:33. See, the Met building is in play for some reason. I don't know why, but just make sure that something happens over there too. And it's 3 in a row in Philadelphia. When you do that ahead of time for me, Kleck, it's gonna wake up all of the other half of your Kleckites that are still in a delusion, because God will send a strong delusion. So what do you think Kleck did to him? He sent them a strong delusion. He has you guys believing he's Lucifer in the flesh. He has the low-tier Kleckites believing he's Christ in the flesh. But just understand, he even said it himself. Imagine if I was Peter. Just imagine if I was Peter. Well, Peter robbed Paul to pay for... Well, no, did Peter... I don't think Peter and Paul were together, were they? I'm not sure. Maybe different timelines? Nah, they must have known each other somewhere. But Paul used to be Saul. Saul couldn't stand you guys. Then, what happened was, somebody popped up on YouTube and started to tell the truth. And that got Kleck's attention. Like, wow, people do that still? That's amazing, Robin. And then, so because Kleck started to see truth in the world, he started to believe in the Spirit of Christ that, oh wow, this really is what God was talking about. And then the scriptures that he knew, like the back of his hand, are all, he knows exactly where everything is now. I'm jealous of that part, because I want to play a better role if I can, because this is the end. I just want to make sure I'm doing everything right. But if whatever I do is what I'm supposed to do regardless, so I don't even know what I'm doing sometimes. It just happen to hit the right scriptures at the right time and talk about the right topics, and things start falling into place. So I'll just keep going with it. What a time to be alive, huh? Yeah, being denied 3 times. is 3 strikes. You're out. Feed my sheep. You got to feed them 3 events in a row. Preferably in Philadelphia. Because I'm right here, I can get the footage. That makes for a pretty damn cool ending of this real live. All of a sudden, I knew I was in a TV show, game show contestant. Who Wants to Be America's Next Top Interpreter? So I'm here. You got Philadelphia right here. You got 3 events in a row. If you get them all in 1 hour, I mean, that's some great footage too. Because the sky will be darkened from the star that fell from heaven, and to him was given the key, the bottomless pit. He didn't have the key to heaven. He came down with the key to the bottomless pit. His purpose wasn't to come from the bottomless pit to go up to heaven, having the key to heaven. No, he has the key coming from heaven down, coming to the bottomless pit with the key, opening up the pit, so that way the air and the smoke can be darkened by the reason of the pit being opened up, and the slave coming out of the bottomless pit where he was enslaved the entire time, and then rising up like a locust, coming out and stinging the people that, well, let's just face it, it's the Kleckites. Your own boss is going to sting you. Not every one of you, just the ones that are still have a strong delusion. The angel falls from heaven having the key to the bottomless pit. He's able to open up your bottomless pit desires that you can never fulfill, you are never satisfied, and you don't have the love of God in you. The angel has the key to that. He's opening up that key. But at the same time, everybody who was promised by broken promises, Lucifer is nothing but broken promises. Everybody who was promised life, liberty, Lamborghini, whatever beautiful house you want, however many, whoever many, it doesn't matter. It's all yours. It's taken a little while to manifest though, right? Just be patient. Everybody who was promised all those good things, when those events happen and that star falls from heaven and Kleck dies, and he said he will die for you, but he also, I think he might be talking about YouTube dying the truth on April 21st, 2020. And then there's like a 3-week period that you're kind of held up to around the 11th of May. And then there's another 21-day period, which takes you to the end of where the waters will be dried up, the second month and 27th day, which evening and then morning is June 1st. It's still a possibility, but there's that 40-day period where when you see Trump disappear because he's playing the Christ role and or Kleck, well, you have to do your count. It's a 40-day count. But is it at the beginning of Christ's ministry, or is it at the end where he dies and resurrects for 3 days and then is seen for 40 days? Which one is it? But the ones that stand in shame, it's all the ones that were broken, that had broken promises about what you were going to receive in life after these events happen. Because you know some things are happening. I don't know if you know for sure about Philly not really being destroyed, but maybe it might. Maybe this is real fire, real bombs, and I'll see it with my own eyes, and I'll be like, oh my goodness, I thought this was fake. I think I might see that and be like, man, this is real now. This is really real. But I have a strong suspicion I'm going to see it with my own eyes right before they come and lock me up for predicting that. Because Kleck's going to make sure that I go to jail. And then that's the turning point. There's like a 2-week period. Maybe I get a strike, 2 strikes for a week. And then a week later, the second 9/11 happens. Which means like from the April, I don't know, 14th, 2 strikes on my channel, and then I get a week notice until the second 9/11 happens, and then when that happens, I'll be there waiting, and then at Love Park, and then they'll come lock me up, and then it's a 2 week period from that point on, which would be 3 weeks altogether. When I do get out of jail, it'll be 3 weeks since I haven't been on YouTube, and then that's when Michael stands up, and everybody will be delivered because, or maybe as soon as I get out. Now, where am I going to go? Either way, there's a 3 week period that we're going to be eating nothing that's pleasant. When I'm locked up in jail, it's not pleasant bread. I've been there before for a year and a half. It's not very, very pleasant bread to eat in a jail cell. But in real life, out here, there's going to be no stores open. Probably it will be only open for the people that received the chip. After it reopens, when nothing is open for 3 whole weeks, that'll happen too. Thanks, Kleck, for changing the script for me, and because that'll make your employees stand in more shame, because that's when they're gonna know that, you know what, man, my boss really did take Robin seriously. I mean, I'm kind of jealous and salty, but I mean, I got to give it to you, Robin. Yeah, what can I do? It's my boss. He's giving you putting you second in charge. Like, I mean, I didn't know, but it's a good thing you're a nice guy. I mean, I would hate for you to be a prick, right? My wife said that I can be very spiteful, and she understands now. It's not me being spiteful. It's me tapping into the Luciferian spirit, showing you yourself, turning your face to your sin, and looking in the mirror at what you did. That's all that's called, honey. You can call it spiteful all you want because you don't like it when I do it. But then you say later on, you're right. I took it. Wait, hold. You said I was right, but you didn't remember that. All you remember was the argument that turned this situation into right, because I had to fight you through your vessel to Satan to get that out of you. And then you realize afterwards I was right, but you didn't give me credit for turning you right, because all you remember is the negative energy that came from the argument that took place. But that's okay, because that happens all the time. And I'm patient enough to wait it out until my wife says some more things like, you were right, and I did what you said, and it worked. And like, well, honey, do me a favor. Don't ever tell me to shut up, because every time you tell me to shut up is right when I'm right at the very end of making my point across to you, that you're going to say 2 days later, you were right. So it's at the very tail end where Satan wants me to shut the hell up because I'm right there. And then I keep going, and I get through. It's like punching a hole through the wall, just punching straight through it. And then finally getting the other side, because you got to break through the barrier. So she'll say, you were right, honey. And I'll say, what'd you say? Let me record that. But I need her to remember that at this time in the future, I'm going to be talking to you. You're going to tell me shut up. So just let me talk. Because it's the same thing now. Like, you could have already pushed the stop button and I would have shut up. But you're still listening, so I'm going to keep talking. Well, I'm going to get off. But when you can finally convince somebody of the truth, and they clarify it for you that you were right and it works and you were not wasting your time, that's the best thing about this. So what Kleck is going to do to you, Kleckites, he's going to show you, yep, I was greatly beloved. It's true. But see, I love you guys too. You guys are greatly beloved also. It's like your boss I'm greatly beloved by your boss. And you guys are greatly beloved by me. But you guys don't love me. You want to kill me. You don't care if I died or not. And I'm going to be in charge of you. So thank God that I'm a nice guy. And I can be spiteful, but don't worry. You'll tell me a couple days later, you know what, Rom? You were right. You were right.